Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Saturday, January 17th. Happy Hockey Day in Canada. For those of you north of the border, it's Hockey Day in Canada, the annual celebration of the great game known as hockey in this sport, in this country, I should say. I think they've been doing it now for, I would say 30 years, just about 25 at least. Broadcast coast to coast in Canada on CBC. For years, it was just CBC, but Sportsnet now, Rogers, they've kind of taken over that. But it's always a good Saturday when it's Hockey Day in Canada. They load the schedule with coast-to-coast, nationally televised games afternoon and at night. And they usually try to put a lot of all-Canadian matchups. So if you're wondering why we see, Montreal-Ottawa head-to-head, Toronto-Winnipeg head-to-head, Edmonton-Vancouver head-to-head, they like putting the Canadian teams against one another on Hockey Day in Canada. So, like I said, big day of hockey. That, of course, it's always a big day of hockey on Saturday, but the fact that it's Hockey Day in Canada kind of adds to it this particular Saturday. Before we get into Saturday's card, and Alex B. Smith will be here in just a moment as well. He'll be on a little bit later in the show. We'll look back first on last night in the NHL, and it was actually it was a pretty good night. It was a short card, a smaller slate, but it still went pretty well overall. This game, not as much. San Jose, Detroit. We took a shot with Detroit with the money line and the team total over split. Didn't get there. They played, Detroit pretty tough. It was an even hockey game, but you got to give John Gibson credit. Another pretty solid performance from him, only giving up 2 goals. And the Detroit Red Wings get a bounce-back win after getting blanked by Boston in their last game. They beat San Jose 4-2 last night. Still a good enough effort from San Jose. I like the way San Jose's played on this road trip. They outplayed Washington. They played Detroit pretty even last night. Didn't go their way, but I thought they played a pretty good road game. And Alex B. Smith with the bargain bin special last night as well. We cash at least another one, and it's Colin Graff for the San Jose Sharks. It was a great price as well, so well done by Alex with that. You're not going to see many losses worse than that for the Florida Panthers last night. It just totally got away from them in the third period. At least they were in the, it's funny, that third period started. I'm like, is Carolina going to do this again? Are they going to spit the bit? Are they going to blow a game in the third period to Florida? Because remember, they had already done that twice this year, and they were only up 3-1 going into the third period. And I was so tempted to hit Florida live when they were down 3-1. But I said, you know what? Let's wait. Let's see this third period unfold. Let's see how it transpires to begin. I said, I will wait to see if Florida makes this 3-2. If they get it to within 1 goal, then I'll jump on Florida live, because then all the seeds of doubt are going to be planted in Carolina, and they, grip their stick and they get a little tight all over again. But that did not happen. Svechnikov got an early third period power play goal to make it 4-1 for Carolina. And then Florida was starting to get frustrated, and they hadn't played a good game anyway up to that point. Carolina controlled the flow, but then they got frustrated. They ended up in the penalty box for pretty much the rest of the third period, and that's when the floodgates opened. Power play goal, Nick Ehlers. Power play goal, Taylor Hall. Another goal for Ehlers to give him a hat trick on the night, and then a couple of goals within 12 seconds in the last couple minutes, turning what was a 4-1 lead at the start of the third into a 9-1 romp for the Carolina Hurricanes last night. And boy, did they need that. They needed that just from a mental standpoint, that they could to prove that, hey, we can beat this Florida Panthers team. And certainly they showed, once Florida got into all kinds of penalty trouble, that's pretty much when it got away from them. The good news is for the Panthers, off maybe their worst loss of the season, is they don't have long to try to rebound. They don't have to wait long to try to rebound. They are in action tonight against the Washington Capitals. St. Louis, great win for them. 3-2 in a shootout against Tampa Bay. Joel Hofer in net was very good once again. Of course, the Lightning now, they've cooled off. 2 straight losses, and every game during that Lightning win streak, they had scored 4+ goals. And now they've scored just 2 in the last 2 in each of the last 2 games. So, like I said, the Lightning coming back down to earth at least a little bit offensively. But boy, they had their chances last night. 37 shots. And like I said, a great night for Joel Hofer, only giving up 2 goals on those 37 Tampa Bay shots. So, he continues to right now outperform Binnington. That's why he's getting the net right now for Jim Montgomery, and a nice 3-2 win there for St. Louis. Nashville, how about this win? 7-3 against Colorado. I'll be honest, didn't see that coming. Now, he did have the first goal in the first 5 minutes in this game, and we did have the first period over, and of course, easily it was over in the first 2-2 after 1. But Ryan O'Reilly, Auto Parts, Ryan O'Reilly with the hat trick against his old team last night, turned back the clock kind of night for him. Mackenzie Blackwood was rough. Kind of like what we saw with Aiden Hill the night before against Vegas. When you've been out that long, you're not always going to be sharp the first game back, and you could see it. He gives up a goal in the first minute, and he ends up giving up, 5 goals on the night against the Nashville Predators. Remember, the last 2 were empty netters, but yeah, not a great return for Mackenzie Blackwood, guy that had been playing great for the Colorado Avalanche before his injury. But like I said, it's not easy for any goaltender, to be on top of their game right away after returning from injury. So a great win for Nashville, though, as they go into Colorado. If you can believe it, that was the first regulation loss on home ice this year for the Colorado Avalanche. Pretty wild, pretty crazy it took this long for it to happen. And the Anaheim Ducks first of all, it's the LA Kings finding another way to, snatch a defeat from the jaws of victory, something they've done quite a bit this year. 2-0 lead midway through the second. But the Ducks tie it with a couple of goals in a 3-minute span from Ryan Strome and from Tim Wash, who end up getting the tying goal 2-2 for the Anaheim Ducks. And then Anaheim ends up winning it, obviously, after that, 3-2, getting the job done. And another tough, hard-fought, unfortunate loss for the LA Kings. They lose 3-2 in a shootout last night to the Anaheim Ducks. That was Alex's best bet, of course. Anaheim, I loved Anaheim at that price. They were on my card as well. So great job by the Ducks. And here we go. What did I say? Team off a long losing streak. They finally snapped the losing streak and win a game. Sometimes they can put a couple of wins in a row together, and Anaheim has now done that. 2 straight wins for them following that 9-game losing streak. And they play the LA Kings again tonight, this time in Anaheim at the Honda Center. And that'll be the last game that we preview on this Saturday NHL slate. All right, Alex will be here in a moment. We'll get into the Saturday card right now because we have a couple of games that are starting in the next hour. This one's starting in about 20 minutes. First game on today's big Saturday slate. It's Minnesota, and it's a good one. It's Minnesota and Buffalo. We've got the Buffalo Sabres minus 120 home favorites here in this game. The total sitting at 6, shaded to the over. I think when you look at this matchup, we know Buffalo has done this a lot, right? Over the years, we've talked about how many times have we talked about the Buffalo Sabres playing one of these early afternoon games at home? They've done it a lot. They're used to it. They're comfortable with it. And certainly they haven't been traveling. They've been at home all week. They played Philly. They played Florida. They played Philly. They played Montreal. 3 straight home games this week. So they're not even traveling coming into this game here with the Wild. So they're used to it. They're playing really good hockey. I don't want to step in front of them. And Minnesota's, starting to come back down to the pack a little bit. Hasn't been a great week for the Minnesota Wild. They're off a shellacking 6-1 at the hands of the Winnipeg Jets in their last game. I know nobody was really thrilled with the performance they had there in that one. We'll see if they can bounce back. This Sabres are pass for me. I think Minnesota is going to come back and play real strong today. We'll see if it's enough to win the hockey game. I'm not willing to bet that it is. But off a loss like that, I'm not sure I want to go up against Minnesota, but I'm damn sure not going against a 15-2 Buffalo Sabres team in their last 17 games overall when they're used to playing these early start affairs. They are still without Josh Norris, of course. That is significant. And there are some injuries here for Minnesota today. We know they were already without Brodin. They were already without Eriksson Ek. And we see the defensive acumen of this team suffer without those 2 guys. But Matt Boldy's now on IR. Marcus Johansson is out as well for the Minnesota Wild. So that's a concern. And there it is with Jonathan. Wild without their entire second line for this hockey game. So I did bet a small over, although I don't like the fact that, we got some multiple big-time forwards missing, and including a whole line for this team. But Buffalo has been trending over recently at home. They've been lethal offensively. Their power play is red hot. And Minnesota's been trending over since Quinn Hughes got here. How many times have we said that? But it is an early game, and this could go either way with these totals. I've seen 3-1 games. I've seen 6-5 games with these early starts. So small over bet. I am on the draw in this game. I think this draw is worth a shot. We've seen some overtime games between these two teams, East versus West. By the way, 4 straight games in Buffalo, Wild versus Sabres, have been 1-goal games. Now, only one of those games have gone past regulation. But, man, we're sniffing around overtime 4 straight times here in Buffalo between these two teams. So I think the draw could get there here. I think plus 330 is what I got with the draw here in this game. Oh, no, yeah, plus 324 actually at Pinnacle is what I got. Shopping around with that, but I think there's draw potential here for Wild and Sabres. We got our guy Alex with us now. Alex, welcome in. Congratulations to you on the Colin Graff bargain bin special from last night. I mentioned that earlier, but your thoughts here, Wild Sabres.
Yeah, this is one. If the Wild were a little healthier, I would be all over this draw. You can get plus 340, by the way, over at Caesars by way of game going to overtime. Yes,
I've been rushed all morning, so that's why.
Well, yeah, but you have Pinnacle, so you have that luxury of betting at a book that always has quality prices above 300 with the draw. But with this particular spot, it would be, like I said, I would have to lean toward Buffalo. I have nothing on this game now. I can wait for it live. We'll be on the air. Maybe we jump in and throw something out over the next hour. But I lean toward Buffalo because of the fact this is a very early start. And this is a start, like I said, Buffalo's used to these games. Minnesota, they play day games. But when the 11:30 body clock on a Saturday, it wouldn't shock me if Buffalo maybe gets off to an early jump here. So if I lean with anything early, first goal, first period, maybe that's something I'll look to grab, but get it at a better price in game as it starts in about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, no doubt. This one starts. It's a good game. Good game to start the day. Great day. Hockey day in Canada, as I mentioned, right off the top today in this country, which is great. They do the all-day spectacle. I think Moncton, New Brunswick is where they're on location for a hockey day in Canada today with Ron McLean. He'll be waxing poetic about the early settlers of 1940, finding some frozen pond in the middle of Moncton, and how the game grew from there. I mean, he's totally in his element, Ron McLean, with this stuff. He can babble on about the history and the past and just these people you've never even heard of from 50 years ago, and just give you all the passion of hockey in Ron McLean. He's a storyteller, that guy.
Which is great. That's great. We need more hockey history told. You could say it's for any sport, as far as I'm concerned. Right. More history told to the younger generation and learn about the history of the game. That's great.
Yeah, no doubt. Now his puns can get a little aggravating on him.
Yeah.
He does a lot of that. It's almost every time he's every segment in the studio, but that's another story. As far as props, Josh Doan, man. I would not talk anybody out of anything with Josh Doan. He's been phenomenal for the Buffalo Sabres really all season. And by the way, another big part of that trade that sent Peterka to Utah is back in the lineup today. Michael Kesselring, who's missed some time on the blue line for Buffalo, he is back today. And in the lineup for Lindy Ruff and the Buffalo Sabres. So that is definitely a big boost. If I were to look at anyone on Minnesota, the usual players we've talked about, right? Hartman, Urov, those guys are their top 2 centers for this game today. There's probably some good value.
One more note, too, with that game, this early start and being in Buffalo, this is the appetizer to, of course, the main course being the Buffalo Bills taking on the Denver Broncos. So don't think that crowd won't be fired up there at KeyBank.
I think this game was already 12:30. I think it already was. I don't think they adjusted it for the Bills.
It was already scheduled that way, yeah. They didn't adjust it. They didn't adjust it for it, but I'm just saying it just happens to line up well to perfectly, where you got one going into the other. So I'm saying that should just add a little more extra boost into that crowd.
Yeah, no doubt. So this is a good game to start the day. I'll be having it on while we continue on with the show. Next up, this is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Rangers Flyers. We've got Philadelphia down to they were minus 145. It's down to minus 125 now. So there's been some movement here toward the Rangers. 6.5 now the total, pretty much across the board here for this game. It looks like now. I mean, from a side perspective, I want nothing here. No part of this hockey game from a side perspective. Both teams are just in free fall right now. Neither one playing well. I've been really, really surprised at how the Flyers have kind of, really plummeted defensively. That was such a strong suit of theirs early in the season under Rick Tocchet, and now we're seeing their penalty kill, which was so strong early in the season, get lit up of late. They've given up 7 power play goals in the last 3 games combined. 7 power play goals allowed by this Flyers PK in the last 3 games. Now, I know they faced Tampa, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. They're capable teams on the man advantage, but that's not good. You've got to tighten that up if you're going to win hockey games. And Philadelphia is just not doing a good enough job on the kill right now. Rangers have lost 5 in a row. Embarrassment against Ottawa the other night, 8-4. We were all over the Senators there and the over by Fecta, but the Senators money line and the team total over primarily. Now, this is the Rangers on the road where they actually have a winning record. They're 15-11 on the road. We think of this team as horrible, but they actually have been a winning road team, 15-11, but they've been so bad at home, 5-17 at home, that it's just basically crushed their season. So if you're ever going to back the Rangers, it would be on the road. I'm not that excited to back the Rangers. Obviously, they're off a blowout loss. They're saying the right things. We got to play better. I've heard that nonsense before. I heard it after losing 10-2 to Boston. You know what they did the next game? They lost 4-2 to Seattle. So I'm not listening to that rhetoric anymore. Now it's show it to me off an embarrassing loss that you're going to show up and get the job done before I bet it. That's for sure. But I'm not laying anything with Philly, especially now that we see the goaltender. And I'm not a big Ersson fan, and he's not playing well, but I'm not enamored with this kid either, the Russian kid who's been called up and will start in net. We've talked about him before. His numbers last year in the NHL were 3.59 goals against average, .867 save percentage, 5-10 record. This year in 3 appearances for the Flyers, 0-2, .886 save percentage. Goals against is not that bad, actually, 2.68 goals against, but the save percentage is bad. At .886. And you know I'm talking about. Don't put it off. Fade Kolosov. Alexei Kolosov is the guy in net for the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, there's only a small handful of people that will get that song reference. It's like a Toronto lawyer. It's Sokolov Lawyers in the Toronto area. It's been a radio advertisement for years. That is what that's from. But anyway, we move on. Look, I'm waiting to see who's in net here for the Rangers. You would think, what are they going to do right now? Igor Shesterkin's out and not coming back anytime soon. Your options are Jonathan Quick, who's struggling mightily, got pulled again versus Ottawa. That's twice in the last 3 starts he got pulled. And your other option is Spencer Martin. Does anybody trust that guy in net? I really don't. So I had to bet over here. I had to bet over 6.5. It's a small bet. But again, Flyers are trending over right now because their defense is just a total mess right now. So yeah, we're gonna have a small over bet. This is an early game. I always get a little heebie-jeebies with the overs in the early games, but like I said, I think with these 2 goalies right now and the way both teams defensively, like we're talking about the Rangers team that's given up 8 and 10 goals in 2 of their last 3 games. We're talking about a Flyers team that's entering this game being shredded on the penalty kill, and they've given up 7, 5, 5, and 6. In their last 4 games. So yeah, over 6.5 here for me. Not the biggest bet in the world, but we took a piece. Alex, what do you think here? Rangers, Flyers.
I got a small bet on Rangers to score first goal in the first period at plus 130. That's the best price available at FanDuel. Other than that, I can't touch this game. Like I said, no way I can back Kolosov and the Flyers, even with this line dropping. Can't trust on the Rangers to score goals ad nauseum, but I think they can come out early and get a piece of Kolosov. So plus 130, I'll take a shot at that. Rangers first goal, first period.
All right. Yeah, indeed. It's like I said, tough times for both of these teams right now. So I'm just looking for goals. I'm not trusting either team win-loss wise, but goal wise, we'll see if we can get both of them to find the back of the net here. There are a couple shots I'm looking at here as far as goal props. Mishkov, I thought Mishkov, he stuck up for his teammate one of the games earlier this week. He's probably worth a look. As far as a goal prop here, he had brought great energy in that game. Owen Tippett's been good lately. Nikita Grabenkin, he's on the second line. I find he's gotten chances, and he's popped in a goal or 2 of late as well. And then for the Rangers, look, I'm going to buy in that maybe this kid's heating up, and it looks like he might start. Mike Sullivan might put him with Zibanejad and the captain, JT Miller. How about Gabe Perreault? Gabe Perreault for this New York Rangers team. This is a player that's obviously a great offensive player in college, expected to be, a guy that can contribute meaningful and impactful production offensively for this team. Gabe Perreault is plus 470 to find the back of the net. And like I said, with him being on the top line, I think there's some really solid value here with Gabe Perreault, who did score for the New York Rangers. He was probably their best player against Ottawa in that 8-4 loss. He scored 2 goals in that blowout loss to the Ottawa Senators. So, I think Gabe Perreault at plus 470. That is worth a look here as far as a goal prop is concerned, Rangers and Flyers. All right, next up at 3 p.m. Eastern, New York Islanders, Calgary Flames. This is the first game for those of you watching on the Hockey Day in Canada coverage on CBC and Sportsnet. This is their first game today. Islanders Flames at 3 p.m. Eastern. Pretty much even money here, both sides, minus 110, 5.5 the total here in this game. Actually, it's 5.5s at most places. There are a couple of 6s out there. Not surprised that David Rittick's starting, even though Sorokin's coming off a shutout win against Edmonton. Normally, you would think, hey, Patrick Waugh's got to throw Sorokin right back in there off a performance like that. But you want to keep him fresh. That's one. And number two, and because he did face a lot of shots against Edmonton. Number two, it's David Rittick against one of his many former teams. So there's always that hunch from Patrick Waugh that, hey, David Rittick going to come up with a big performance here back in Calgary against one of his former teams. And he spent, I think, the most time of his career in Calgary. So he definitely was there for a decent amount of time. He'll want to play well here in this game for the Islanders. Calgary's coming back off. Well, they did win the last game of the road trip against Chicago. Devin Cooley in net. He was very strong for the Flames. This is going to be interesting. I'm waiting on confirmation of goaltender here, but Dustin Wolf has not been confirmed yet. And we continue to see Devin Cooley play well and give the Flames a chance to win games. Both wins on the road trip. Think about this. Both wins on the Calgary road trip for the Flames were wins with Cooley in net. Cooley was in net for both wins on that road trip when they beat Pittsburgh and then when they beat Chicago. Every other game on that road trip, Wolf was in net and they lost. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion here that we're talking Dustin Wolf in net. This could be Cooley again. I don't know if it changes my stance, though, because this is a tough spot for the Flames. We always talk about it. This is not the 6-7 game road trip. There is one team that's in that spot later, and we'll get to it later in the card. But 5-game road trip is still pretty tough, to come back from that, especially when a lot of the games were in the East. Montreal, Boston, Pittsburgh, then you go to Columbus, then you go to Chicago, and now you're back home following that road trip. So I think it's still a bit of a tricky scheduling spot here for Calgary. Calgary's owned the Islanders, believe it or not, 8-2 in the last 10 meetings. They beat them twice last year. I like Islanders first goal, first period. I have a small Islanders money line bet, minus 110. I just think it's a tricky spot here for Calgary off the 5-game road trip. Much of it was out east. So the Islanders first goal, first period is plus 135. It's a pretty good price. I think they could jump on the Flames early in that opening period. Minus 110 with the Flyers. I'm on that, or the Islanders rather. I'm on that. And I'm also going to take the draw. I have to take the draw here. I mean, we've got 4 of the last 6 have gone past regulation here for the New York Islanders. Lately, they've become the Islanders again. 4 of their last 8 overall have gone past regulation. So we have not only recent draw history for the Islanders, but we've got some pretty strong draw history between these two teams head-to-head. Again, 4 of the last 6 have gone past regulation. And by the way, each of the last 2 here in Calgary at the Saddle Dome have gone past regulation. So this definitely has draw indicators just flashing all over the place. Alex, what do you think here, Islanders Flames?
Yeah, I grabbed draw this morning. Plus 305 is the best price you're going to find available with this one. And that's going to happen, like I said, when the Islanders are involved and they're getting back into their rhythm. But I'm also on Islanders money line, got minus $1.10. Islanders to win in overtime or shootout, plus 550 over at FanDuel. If it is David Rittick, well, like I said, David Rittick going against Calgary, we're going against some strong trends that would look to fade him. 0-3-2 with a 3.89 goals against average and an 861 save percentage. Normally, we don't want to back him in a spot against an old team, especially when he struggled like that. But I think this is an Isles team that, like I said, playing some different hockey. And like I said, with Calgary's goaltending, like I said, Cooley didn't have the best of games, in my opinion, against the Hawks. I think that was more of the Hawks not shooting, having a raw go a bit offensively. Right. Yeah. And so either goalie you throw in for Calgary, I'm not thrilled with right now in this spot. I think the Isles can win it. So like I said, we're bucking a trend here. We don't back Rittick often. We usually fade him, but we're going to back him here against Calgary.
Yeah. He's actually had a decent season for the Islanders.
Yeah.
David Root. It's been one of his better seasons, honestly. He's played solid for them, much better than we've seen in recent years. I'm buying in on Anthony Duclair stock. Alex's favorite. Favorite player. But look, he scored in 2 straight games, 3 of the last
He's
5.
streaky. Right. This is the time you want to back him. Now, at some point, once he stops, he might go 20 games and do absolutely nothing, become the king of cardio again. But for right now,
he's feeling it. And he's on the top line. Patrick Waugh is elevated. Remember, there was that clash with him and Waugh last year. They didn't get along. They had a little issue last year, the two of them. But Anthony Duclair is with Barzal and Lee on that top line, plus 412 at Pinnacle. Great price. Yeah, you got to take that. And Jonathan chips in with the fact that not only has he scored, he scored him back-to-back, but Jonathan's saying he scored the first goal in each of these last 2 games.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So maybe that first goal look for Anthony Duclair here as well. Michael Backlund, the captain, might be worth a shot. He scored in back-to-back games for the Calgary Flames entering this one. So those are definitely a couple of props I'll be on. I like riding those short-term streaks, goal-scoring streaks, and we've got 2-game goal-scoring streaks here for both Backlund and for Duclair here for their respective teams. So, like I said, that is definitely a couple of props that I'm interested in here.
Just a note, in that Ranger game, Spencer Martin confirmed for the Rangers. Just got that.
Yeah, I kind of thought it could be him. I think Quick needs a break. He's had a brutal week. Let's be honest. He got shelled by Boston. He gave up 6 of those 10 goals before he got pulled. And then, of course, he was in net for that Ottawa debacle. He got pulled in that. He needs a break. He needs a blow. He needs he needs a reset. I don't even know if the reset's going to help because this team is just a mess. And he's not the Quick that can bail out this team from all their woes defensively like a Shesterkin can at this stage of his career. So, like I said, and Spencer Martin doesn't give me a bunch of confidence either. So, I don't think that changes much. I think there's still probably a chance we see some goals there in that game. Although, again, these early starts are weird. You could think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and then I've seen some of these games be like 3-1. So, again, that's why I keep the early afternoon overs a little bit smaller as far as the bet amount than you would see maybe later in the card. There are some overs I really like later, but like I said, the ones early I'm keeping a little bit smaller. All right, that's it for that game. We move on to the last afternoon game, 5 p.m. Eastern, Seattle, Utah. Utah minus 200 home favorites. The total here sitting at 5.5, 6, depending on where you look. Can't bet every game. This is a no-bet game for me right now, Seattle and Utah. This is pretty tricky for Seattle. This is one of those schedule maker butcher jobs again to a particular team. You played 4 games on this East Coast trip: Carolina, Rangers, New Jersey, Boston. Now you're playing the 3rd game in 4 nights. You're traveling 2 time zones over here to Salt Lake City to take on the Utah Mammoth. I mean, this is definitely not a great scheduling spot for the Seattle Kraken, or travel spot for that matter. Utah coming off back-to-back home wins. A nice homestand this has been for the Utah Mammoth. They're 4-1 on this current homestand. Wins against the Senators, Blues, Leafs, and Stars. So it's been a nice homestand here for Utah as they try to maintain or be right there in the wild card race. And they are 13-9 now at home. Seattle does go home to face Pittsburgh Monday night after this. So this is a Utah spot, but can't do it at minus 200. Pass for me. I would say if you want to bet something on this game, bet what Jonathan's talking about in the chat. Mikhail Sergachev over 1.5 shots on goal. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? 19 of the last 20 at home, he's gone over that 1.5 shots on goal. Call it a day. That's the best bet in the game, probably, quite honestly. Might be that. 19 to 20, that's pretty good odds in your favor for Mikhail Sergachev over 1.5 shots on goal. Alex, Seattle, Utah.
Yeah, if you're looking for a parlay piece with anything else on the board during the day, that's something to consider as well. But this is a pass for me. Like I said, the spot in these prices. Seattle's been a bugaboo in my side of late. Whenever I bet them, I've seemed to have lost. So that's a pass.
Good. There are actually for Utah. We'll give you Lawson Krause. I still think as long as he plays up on the top line with Schmaltz and Keller, good value. And he's been pretty solid up on that top line. So if you're going to look for one goal prop that I probably might get involved with in that game, it's probably Lawson Krause for the Utah Mammoth. All right. By the way, do we have goalies for that game just yet? I didn't see. Decord and Vamelka is what I expect here in this game, but it is not
nothing confirmed. No.
Yeah. nothing confirmed as of yet. All right, the rest of the card is at night. So these are all Saturday night games from here on out, starting with the Battle of the St. Lawrence. I think that's the St. Lawrence River because it's the St. Lawrence River that connects on Ontario to Quebec. So that's why I think that's what they call it, but maybe I've made it up. But that's what I would call it, the Battle of the St. Lawrence here, Montreal.
I can't say I've ever heard that before.
I could have sworn I've heard somebody call
it. Would make sense though.
Panthers. Yeah, Battle of the St. Lawrence. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Nevertheless, okay, on we go. We got Ottawa minus 120 home favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game. This is a series history over. I wish it was 6, not 6.5, but I'm still on it at over 6.5. I mean, 8-2 to the over in the last 10 meetings. Habs and Senators, 5 straight games between the two teams have gone over the total as well, and they've all hit 7. So yeah, this is an over waiting to happen. We still know with Ottawa now. Linus Ullmark is skating, but Levi Merolainen has been confirmed. They are not ready to put Ullmark back in there just yet, so it will be Levi Merolainen in net. I'm still a little pessimistic with him. I mean, he was in net for that Ranger game, but he kind of gave up a couple goals that I didn't love it in the third period. Now, look, Ottawa probably eased off the gas pedal. They were up big in that third period. But nevertheless, I didn't love the finish to that game from Merolainen, and he's still been up and down since he's been starting all these games. Sam Montembeault in net for Montreal. The one concern I would have is Montembeault of late has been very, very good. This is probably the best stretch of hockey he's played in a long time. He's given up 3 goals or less now in 5 straight starts. Very, very good for a guy that was awful early in the season. However, Ottawa's generating a ton of chances. And even in the games they lost, they were generating really good looks. The puck was not going in for them. You got to hope, albeit it was against a bad Rangers team, maybe that 8-goal outburst gets Ottawa's offense, reignites it. Because really they've had opportunity. Like they put up 40 shots, 31 shots, and only score 1 or 2 goals. And the puck just wasn't going in. Travis Green talked about that after the win against the Rangers, saying we've gotten great looks. We've gotten tons of really good scoring chances. Puck just hasn't been going in for us, and it finally did in that game against the Rangers with 8 goals. So maybe a little offensive confidence here for Ottawa going into this game. And Montembeault does not have good numbers against Ottawa. This is definitely, we talk about how he's owned Florida. He has struggled against Ottawa. Over 3 goals against and a way below 900 save percentage for Montembeault against the Senators. So he has had his struggles against them. A little bit surprised Marty St. Louis actually chose this game for Montembeault. I know he's playing better lately, but he has really had a tough time against Ottawa in the past. So I like over 6.5 here. I lean Montreal. I usually like Montreal off a loss, but I like them off a loss against Buffalo and they didn't win. So I might just keep that as a lean, but I do lean Canadians. But the over to me is the much better bet here in this game. I'll probably make it a bifecta too, because I think Ottawa's been trending heavily to the first period over of late, but I might wait for that. I think it's a little pricey right now with that first period over, but I'll turn it into an over bifecta. Alex, what do you think? Montreal, Ottawa.
Yeah, I was gonna say I played a small piece of this over 6.5, and I'll look to add on some more, try and grab a 6 in game along with that first period over, as you mentioned. Montembeault's numbers 4 and 5 with a 3.36 goals against and an 8.77 save percentage against Ottawa in 9 starts. So like you said, been a little shaky. So don't want to take a side. I've been kind of snake bit with Montreal late too, as far as sides go, but definitely liking this total here. So play it a little piece of 6.5, and we'll try and grab a little bit more in game with a 6.
Yeah, there it is. 8 straight first period overs for Ottawa, says Jonathan, and 11-1 in the last 12. Yeah, I knew it was pretty good. So yeah, that'll be a bifecta. That'll be first period.
Definitely we'll look for that live.
Yeah, no question. As far as props go for this game, Montreal and Ottawa, let me see here with the lineups here. There's really not a lot that stands out. I mean, I always say with Ottawa, look toward, Batherson's actually been starting to heat up for them. That could be worth a look. Zetterlund, just because he's on the top line, there's probably some decent value. But yeah, Batherson with a goal in 4 straight against the Habs. That's kind of what I thought too. Batherson, I know not only is he in better form lately, but he's also had some good games, good success, production, scoring production, goal production against Montreal in the past. So that could be worth a shot there as well. So let me see here. Also, by the way, I'm looking at it here. Dylan Cousins for Ottawa, Jake Sanderson from the blue line for Ottawa have better than higher percentages of scoring goals against Montreal in the past, head-to-head, than their goal prop price probably indicates. So there could be some value with both of them here in this game. Jake Sanderson plus 550 for the Ottawa Senators in this game, and Dylan Cousins at around plus 290, plus 300. So keep that in mind. For Montreal, I keep mentioning the usual players that I think have value. It's Tessier on the top line. It's Kapanen on the second line. Demidov has actually scored, I think, against Ottawa previously earlier this season. So those are a couple maybe to keep an eye on as far as Montreal props that are worth a look. All right, next up, we've got Carolina, New Jersey. This is an interesting spot because Carolina's off the 9-1 thumping that I know was ultra satisfying for the Hurricanes after all the years of torture they've suffered at the hands of the Florida Panthers. But they're in action again tonight on a back-to-back. They're minus 115 road favorites against the New Jersey Devils, 6.5 the total. In this game, this could be a Freddie Anderson night. It was Bussy last night, of course. There's a chance we see Frederik Andersen tonight, not confirmed yet, but I'm kind of expecting it might be him. You just cannot wear Bussy out and play him every single night. You got to get Anderson in there at some point. Now, Anderson, we did see him win against Anaheim, but he didn't face any shots. They protected him big time, only 13 shots. Against Detroit, he played. He gave up 4 goals. They lost, and he only faced 18 shots. He ain't back. He ain't back on track. Okay? He ain't back on track. You know, the Anaheim win was fool's gold because they protected him. It's like, you're protecting your house from a robber. That's what the Carolina Hurricanes were doing defensively for Anderson in that game. They were petrified for anybody to shoot at them in that game, knowing what Anderson, how much he struggled. And then even in the Detroit game, they kept the shot suppression. It was there. They kept the shots down. They only gave up 18 to Detroit, and the guys still gave up 4 goals, and they lost the game 4-3 to the Red Wings there in that game. So he's not back on track. First of all, I'm definitely interested maybe in a Devils team total. The Devils team total in this game is 3. You can get a cheap 3, a flat 3 at even money or a slight price. So like I said, I'm interested here in that if Anderson's confirmed. Plus, we got but teams have kind of struggled lately on back-to-backs, I've noticed as well in this league. We'll see if that impacts Carolina a bit. New Jersey lost at home to Carolina just recently. These teams played here in Jersey, and Hurricanes beat them 3-1. Bussy was in net, though, for that game. I'm interested in overs, and I'm interested in Devils team total over if Anderson's confirmed, but obviously we're waiting on that. That is true from Aaron saying that Slavin back should help. Yeah, that's no doubt. Slavin back should help. And we're already seeing it with Slavin back. All of a sudden, teams aren't getting, high 20s and 30s in shots anymore against Carolina. It's back to the usual, teens and low 20s that the Carolina Hurricanes are giving up as far as shots on goal per game. So, maybe New Jersey's just not going to have enough shots to put the goals in tonight. You could always be worried about that. But like I said, Anderson is certainly someone I'm still very interested and very high on as far as the fade list is concerned. Alex, what do you think here, Canes Devils?
Yeah, just wanted to quickly mention that I am on Buffalo first goal, first period now plus 140 in game. Minnesota on about to wind down a power play. So just grabbing that, just want to make that known. But as far as this game goes, this is a wait and see. This is one I like live. I like the over here in this, but I feel like we can wait and get a 6. I think this is going to be kind of a low and slow start. I think we may even be able to get into that first period over potentially too. But yeah, I'm not rushing to get the over here. And it'll be, like I said, regardless of goalie, that's kind of where we get with Carolina. Either you're overplaying Bussy or you're throwing in Anderson, who's looking like a bum at this point. So either way, when you're waiting, like I said, for a 6, I think this is a fair price with the over. So either way, who's confirmed, just wait a few minutes, grab the over, and go from there.
And Jacob Markstrom right now is the projected goalie for New Jersey, and he's a Forrest
He's
Gump
been the
goalie
B-side.
right now.
He's been the B-side of that team right now too. So.
Yeah. Don't know what you're going to get. There's also a guy that got lit up for 9 goals, but he has bounced back in the last 2 games. He gave up 2 goals and a pair of victories. They beat Minnesota and they beat Seattle, the last 2 games with Markstrom in net. So maybe Markstrom's turning a corner again. So like I said, we'll see where it was. Just got to wait to see who the goalies are. Check the Patreon page is what I got to say. Yeah, definitely. That's what the Patreon page is there for. That's why we post the daily card. There's going to be certain instances where we just cannot make a strong, confirmed stance one way or another on a game this early in the day. But that's what the Patreon card is for. And we'll have it up there later in the day. The full card from both me and Alex, patreon.com/Ice Guys. And again, that's just $10 per month. As far as goal props here for this game, what a night for Ehlers last night, obviously a hat trick. Cody Glass repair, Cody Glass replace. He has been noticeable lately for the Devils, chipping in a little bit on that third line. So he might be someone worth looking at as far as value is concerned. Didn't score last night, but he did have a beauty assist. Logan Stankoven, I still think, has pretty solid value right now for the Carolina Hurricanes. All right, Florida, the team that just got absolutely steamrolled 9-1 last night by the Carolina Hurricanes. Now they are in action again, back-to-back here in Washington. We've got the Capitals minus 150, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. You look at this Florida Panthers team, and, you would expect a much better effort. I would think Daniil Tarasov will get the start. This was probably going to be a Daniil Tarasov start from the beginning tonight. Was it so bad for Bobrovsky that he's going to be like a Andrei Vasilevsky would with John Cooper and demand the net tonight to try to bounce back after last? I'm not so sure about that. I think they're looking at the long-term vision that, hey, we got to keep Sergei Bobrovsky fresh. We can't be throwing him in there too much for back-to-backs. So I would expect Tarasov. He is projected. It'll be Logan Thompson here, confirmed already for Washington. Good news on the horizon, possibly in this game for Washington. Tom Wilson might be back for this game. We'll see about that, but there's talk that this could be the game he gets taken off the IR and comes back in the lineup. He's a game-time decision, it sounds like, for this game. Tariq El-Bashir, who's been a long-time Caps reporter, mentioning that game-time decision for Tom Wilson. So obviously that would be huge. No question about that. We'll see. I'm waiting on the confirmation as far as Florida and the lineup for Washington. I don't mind taking a shot with Florida first goal, first period. I lean that way, but my concern is Washington's coming off a stinker too. I mean, I saw some of the reactions of Spencer Carberry when that 3-goal outburst came for San Jose against them the other night, and he's like kicking stuff behind the bench and throwing his gum on the ground. Like he wasn't a happy coach after that game for Spencer Carberry. So you got to think Washington's going to want to play better as well after that loss to the San Jose Sharks. So as much as it could be a bounce back spot for the Florida Panthers, it could be a bounce back spot here for the Washington Capitals as well. So you got two teams that I think should probably bring it here in this game, particularly early. So that's why I'm probably going to end up staying off. These two teams have played nothing but overs lately, Panthers and Capitals head to head. But I don't know about this spot though. While it's been a strong over series history, we got Florida coming off giving up 9 goals. Are they really going to focus on defense is what you would think we're going to see here from the Florida Panthers tonight. So I probably will lay off the over, even though there's been a lot of recent overs head-to-head with the Panthers and Capitals. By the way, Minnesota just scored. Seeing it now. Yeah, 1-0 for Minnesota. So, first goal. That's unfortunately for Alex with the first goal.
UPL shot. Just basically falls down after trying to make a save. Never. Yeah. I'm guessing he's okay. The way he kind of just went down for a save and never got back up.
Yeah, it looked like an awkward fall there for him. Yeah, he just lost his balance or something there. Yeah, that was a little bit of a awkward looking tumble that he took there on that Minnesota goal. So Wild on the board, 1-0. Again, I have drawn the over in that game, and I have the over in the Ranger game. Small bets. These are small bets to get the day started. The bigger actions later. The bets I like the most. That's the way it is for Saturday, most Saturdays. Like I always seem to like the night card more. The day card can be a little bit sketchy sometimes. So, yeah, the bigger action for me is always at night. The freaks come out at night. Wodini, look it up.
It's only until we get to really April, right? Those last couple of weeks of the regular season, do we really start seeing day spots really stick out and stand out? I don't know. I've noticed that personally in my handicap in the last couple of years. That the day games on Saturdays are a little trickier, but then as things get closer to February, March, April, and we get into those tighter playoff races, that's when the day action kind of really opens up. We get kind of better read on some of those day games.
Alex should have went after Buffalo next goal after that 1-0 Minnesota goal because Sabres have tied it.
Yeah, that's usually how it works sometimes.
That's 1-1, 10 minutes into the opening period. Yeah, I think the Mighty Quinn got this one. Quinn. Yeah, Jack Quinn for the Buffalo.
Good look for the over. so far.
Yeah, it's a good start with
first
that.
period over gets there. So.
Good for the draw. We're tied again.
Yeah.
So there you go. Good stuff. All right, keep it going, boys. All right, what do you like here, Alex? Florida, Washington.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot for Florida because they were in Washington the other day. Then they played Carolina. They got their ass kicked last night. And now you go back to Washington, and this is a spot. This is one. It's a little tricky. I like the over here. I don't know if I want to wait for this one. I think at 6, I'll grab a little piece of it. I like the first period over even more though. I'm seeing minus 124, 125. So I'll lay that and probably wait for that total in game, full game total in game. But I'm gonna go with that first period over pregame. I think we could definitely see Washington jump out, maybe catch Florida a little bit. But Florida is definitely going to this is definitely maybe Florida first period goal. We talk about parlay pieces sign in. Florida just to get a goal in the first period be something I would look at too because, like I said, coming off of that loss last night, they're going to be just gunning to try and at least get on the board, get a lead early in this contest. But like I said, first period over the strongest play I have in this.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to because I was leaning first goal, first period. Washington's going to want to play well too because they didn't love their game against San Jose at all the other night, and it was bad. The first 2 periods, San Jose was out shooting them like 23-8. Like it was a terrible effort from Washington at home. So they are definitely going to want to. So I would do what you suggested. First period, Florida goal. Right now it's minus 145 at Pinnacle. You can wait just a minute or two. Just hope you get through 2 clean minutes. And you'll get that team total down to minus 120 or better, and that's when I'll take it. Yeah.
If Florida was playing a different team, I would be on first goal, first period. Same thing with Washington because, like I said, how these 2 teams played in their last games. But I think they canceled each other out, and I just like goals.
Yeah, Ryan McLeod got the Sabre goal, by the way. It was McLeod. Quinn gets an assist, not the goal. It was McLeod from Quinn and Zucker for the Buffalo goal there. So, and that was their first shot. Well done, Gustafson. That cocksucker Gustafson. It reminds me of grumpy old man. Jack Lemmon and Walton.
That's funny.
It's John Gustafson in that movie, in those movies. God, you talk about those 2 guys in those 2 movies were hilarious. They were good in all the stuff they did. Odd Couple, Grumpy Old Men, Grumpier Old Men. Out to Sea gets panned, but even I thought that was kind of funny. But they did a lot of great, funny movies together, those 2 guys. So that shows you how old I am. Those movies were like 30, 40 years ago. But, that cocksucker Gustafson. Yeah, Walter Matthau. You got to start saying that when doesn't play well. Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's solid.
That's our new thing to go to when Philip Gustafson shit in bed in net for the Minnesota Wild. Dear. All right. As far as goal props here for this game, Florida and Washington, Ryan Leonard, scored last game. He's been pretty solid of late for Florida. We've talked about how lately there's been good value with Anton Lundell. He's been kind of the go-to for me as far as goal scoring is concerned. It's bad when the only guy that scored for you in the last game, and no offense to him, but Uvis Balinskis getting your only goal. That's a problem.
I was so mad about missing that. He signed a 2-year contract extension before that game.
Oh, the contract bump.
He had the contract bump. Yeah. And he was the only guy to score. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, no doubt. Indeed. So that's a great point. We have to remember that. I think Tessier scored too after he got renewed by Montreal.
This is the time of year to look for too. Especially now with teams are looking to make trades before the Olympic break, but teams are also looking to sign guys and secure some contracts. So that's something to keep in mind with some of these guys. That contract bump is a real thing. We captured that with Alex Winberg the other night.
No doubt. There we go. It's almost like it goes right to their skates, goes right to their legs.
And Winberg's been hot. Winberg, I think he's had like 2 goals and 2 assists since he signed the deal. So
yeah. I mean, he's been great. That's actually, speaking of that reminds me, I should probably look at him in the Seattle, Utah. I mentioned Krause for Utah. I might look at Wenberg too for Seattle. He's been noticeable lately. He's been very good for the Kraken. That might be a goal prop to look at in that game as well. All right, let's move along to Columbus, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh minus 125 home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. And yes, I have seen it that Elvis Merzlikins is starting here tonight for Columbus. But I think it's just like with Columbus, since Bonus got there, it's a new team. Maybe it's a new Elvis. He played great. Let's give him his flowers. He was great. against Vancouver. He played his best game I've seen in a long time. We saw the interview with Jody Shelley that he hated the coach's guts, Dean Evison, there. He did. He basically said it without actually saying it. He ended up saying, new coach. Is that really all it was, Jody? Yeah, new coach. Yeah, so it tells you all you need to know. There's a frosty relationship with him and Elvis. I think he feels better now. He's getting starts. Rick Bowness is putting some trust, some confidence, some faith in Elvis right now. This is a Columbus team. We're just riding them until they lose, especially at prices like this. Give me the Jackets here, plus 105. And this is the first time Columbus playing Pittsburgh since that brutal loss. And this was one of the losses that was the catalyst to giving Dean Evison the old heave-ho. They were up like 4-2 or something at home against Pittsburgh, third period. They blew the lead, tied in the third late, and Pittsburgh won it in overtime. It was a terrible loss for the Pittsburgh, or for the Columbus Blue Jackets at home against Pittsburgh. And now they're going to have a chance to make amends for that as well. So I like this Columbus side here, plus 105. I mean, just because there's always that, little voice in the back of your head that says, well, what if Elvis doesn't have a good game today? Maybe I add the over, but I'm going to trust Elvis here. And I'm going to go Jackets money line and a little split with Jackets team total here over as well. Now, Skinner is in net for Pittsburgh, and he's been pretty good lately. But this Columbus team's got newfound spirit, newfound energy since the coaching change. We're seeing it, and I think they carry it over into this game. And I think they know that Pittsburgh loss, I'm telling you, that was the loss Don Waddell cited when he talked to the media earlier this week, the GM, that Pittsburgh loss was devastating. You got to win that game. 4-2 up in your building against the Penguins, and you lose 5-4. He cited that as one of the things that started to make him think, maybe we got to make a change at head coach with Dean Evison. So first game since then, give me the Jackets. I think they go to 3-0 since the coaching change. Alex, what do you think here? Jackets, Penguins.
We've seen Elvis go from off the toilet to on the stage since this coaching change has been made. And one of the things he said at the end of that interview was, we will beat Pittsburgh on Saturday.
I heard that. Yeah, the guarantee.
So the guarantee, I'm liking that. I'm liking that energy. I'm liking that confidence. Give me Columbus here, but I have to go with the draw. We've had 3 straight games go past the regulation. 4 of the last 5 of the last 7. So I'm going with Columbus to win in overtime to shoot out plus 550, along with the draw plus 340, best price available at Caesars, and Jackets straight money line plus 105.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. I think the draw is worth a look. Like I say, we could see obviously Columbus win and maybe win by margin, because they've done that the first 2 games. They've won by margin, but never. It is Shelov's. Oh boy, I thought it would be Skinner here, but no, it's Shelov's. Maybe Dan Muse is seeing what Jonathan's mentioning, that Skinner's had a tough time in the past against the Columbus Blue Jackets. So I'm on over 6.5, but I don't like that. The Columbus bets are the bigger bets. That's a small bet. The bigger bets are Columbus money line team total over. And I'm going to bet on that draw. And Shelov's, I don't mind Shelov's being in net. Like I say, he's nothing special this year for the Penguins. It hasn't been a great year for him by any stretch of the imagination. You know what we're going to take? We got to take Charlie Coyle. Have to do it. It was a bargain bin special last game. We got to ride the wave that is Charlie Coyle right now for the Blue Jackets. 3 straight games with a goal, 2 straight under bonus, still over plus 400. You got to bet it. Werenski scored in back-to-back games. You got to bet it. Kent Johnson's getting more ice time. His confidence is coming back. He scored in that game against Vancouver, a goal and an assist, 2 points. 3 great props. 3 of my favorite goal props of this entire card are all in one game with one team. Charlie Coyle, Zach Werenski, Kent Johnson for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I love all of those goal props.
Might need to parlay them a little bit.
I think I will. I think they're all worth a shot. There's no doubt. I mean, Coyle, Werenski. By the way, Rick Bowness, you think Rick Bowness likes having Zach Werenski on his blue line? He called him elite the other day. No, he corrected the reporter, said he's not just good, he's elite. Get it right. Very, very well said. And there was a video saying, and by the way, that's another thing why I'm keeping the over small. They had the video montage of Rick Bowness's first speech, first interaction with the players in the dressing room. And he had on the whiteboard all the bad defensive stats for the team. Goals against 29th, expected goals against 30th, shots against 29, like terrible numbers. And he said, that's our ticket out of the playoffs, is what he said. These numbers you see right here. If you want in the playoffs, we got to get to work and fix this. So, and that tells you that their defense is the focus right now for Rick Bowness and trying to get improvement from this Columbus team moving forward. All right, next up, we've got another of the all-Canadian matchups here for Hockey Day in Canada. It's Toronto-Winnipeg. Winnipeg minus 135 home favorites, 5.5, 6 the total here in this game. What is it now? 7 straight Jets games, 8 straight Jets games. I've lost count, but it's 7 or 8 straight Jets games, 6+ goals. I've been on all these overs lately. They're scoring goals in bunches. The confidence has come back for the Jets offensively. I think that continues here. These teams just played recently in Toronto, and it flew over the total with the Jets and the Leafs earlier this season in Toronto. I believe we're going to see Hildeby get the start here for the Toronto Maple Leafs in this game. Connor Hellebuck already confirmed for the Jets, but I continue to say this about Connor Hellebuck. He's not been anything to write home about since he's been back from injury. He's been okay at times, has certainly not been great. There's no doubt about that. So we just keep riding these overs with Winnipeg at 5.5 right now. You just have to. I mean, they're just on this crazy run of 6+ in all their games. So Toronto, Winnipeg over 5.5. Don't have anything on the side here. I'd actually lean Jets. They're playing good. It's a revenge spot. They lost just a gut wrencher, a soul sucker against Toronto. Remember that game? They blew it. They had that multi-goal lead, and they ended up losing to Toronto in regulation. They might remember that. They're playing well. I don't know if I want to lay minus 135, but it's Jets or pass for me from a side perspective, but it is over for sure for me pregame. Alex, what do you think here? Leafs, Jets.
Yeah, I missed out on the 5.5. I grabbed the 6 at minus $1.05. Still think that's fair with the pace that we've seen these draws come in, or these overs come in. Speaking ahead of myself, because I like the draw here. Plus 340 at Caesars. This is a game I could feel like it could go into overtime. So maybe a correct score with a 3-3 or a 4-4 shot as well. But definitely liking the over and definitely liking the draw.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, it is a tough spot. This is the end of the road trip, if I'm not mistaken, for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They do go home, I believe, after this, and it's been a lot of games this week, a lot of intense games too. Colorado was intense, while Utah was a tough spot. Vegas was intense too. The 6-5 gut wrencher against Vegas, the big Mitch Marner game, and now they play Winnipeg here tonight, and then of course they're returning home after this to play Minnesota, Detroit, and then Vegas again at the end of the week, where Mitch makes his big return to Toronto on Friday.
This is classic draw season spot. East versus West. Toronto at the end of a long and, like I say, grueling road trip. Jets needing to just claw and fight to get any points possible. This great spot for the draw.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. Yeah, I did want to mention it happened a few minutes ago, but trying to focus on the show. We don't want to be because the reason I don't want to talk too much about the games in progress, if there are any while we're doing the show, is because I respect the podcast listeners. Listeners that are tuning in at 5:30 this afternoon to listen to the podcast, they're not going to give 2 shits what we're talking about a game that's already done. So from that standpoint, that's why I try to keep the mentions of the games in progress at a minimum here when we're doing the show. But nevertheless, I did want to mention it because Jonathan did. That was a hell of a scrap. It was a great fight. Love seeing it with Foligno and Kesselring. Returning Michael Kesselring for the Buffalo Sabres. So like I said, that was a good scrap. Always love seeing a good scrap. We need more of them here in the league. As far as props for Toronto and Winnipeg, Scheifele's often been a Leaf killer. I can't believe I'm saying this. I got to bet Captain Serious here. Jonathan Taves. 4 straight games now with a goal. How do we not take him? Amazing. Almost plus 400 still for him to find the back of the net for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. 4-game goal streak for Jonathan Taves. Found his offensive game. Morrissey's actually scored in 2 straight for the Jets. Scheifele's had a good track record. Velarde, Iafallo could be worth a look here as well on the Winnipeg side. If I was to look at someone for Toronto for goal prop here, McMahon, Domi with Matthews, there's value. Robertson scores a lot of goals on the road. That could be I'd even maybe give Michelli a shot. Michelli is playing with Tavares and Robertson. He's shooting the puck a little bit more. He's played well lately. So, Matias Michelli could be a good consideration here as far as goal prop as well for the Toronto Maple Leafs in this one. All right, Boston and Chicago, a little old school, original 6. Battle here. We've got Boston minus 120 road favorites. The total here sitting at 6, shaded to the over. How many more chances are we going to give Chicago? Or am I going to give? I'm not giving them any more right now. That was not a good win. That was a bad loss. You shouldn't be losing to Calgary, who struggle on the road in that game. You can't score against the Calgary Flames. It's a problem on home ice. And Boston's heating up again. You know, this has been a great run for the Bruins. They're playing good hockey. This definitely looks like a cheap price to back the Bruins, but I don't want to be on Boston on a night where maybe Chicago does step up, but I'm not putting my money on them to do that. So this is a pass really for me, Bruins and Blackhawks. Alex, anything here, Boston, Chicago?
Yeah, give me Bruins first goal of first period, plus 115. This is a part of the centennial celebration night tonight. They're calling this the banner years. They're going to be honoring Duncan Keith. There's going to be a whole lot of players there. It's going to be a little bit of a ceremony, so we could see a little bit of a delay. So this is also a first period over spot, but I'm waiting live for that because you're looking at lane 140 or 145 right now. But I do like Boston first goal of first period. It is an Arvid Soderblom start.
Yeah,
can't get back to where we can't trust him anymore. And we've seen the Hawks kind of lay eggs in some of these games with the ceremonies before, during this centennial season. There hasn't really been the energy builder that you'd think it would be when you're talking about the Hawks in the United Center. So Boston first goal, first period pregame, and first period over in game.
All right, good stuff. There are some props I like. I'm not bullish on anything side or total,
Yeah.
but there are a couple of props that I do like here for this game. I'll mention a couple for Boston. Murat Husnudinov, man, keep going with him. Plus 500 still in some spots, and he's up there still with Pastrnak on the top line. Murat Husnudinov's been very good lately. This one's a bit more of this isn't going to continue. He's a fourth-line guy, and he's no more for dropping the gloves than scoring. But Mark Kastelik has scored in back-to-back games for the Boston Bruins. Okay? He has scored in back-to-back games for them, and he's plus 900. So a little sprinkle on that.
I like a dart. This is not going to be my bargain bin, but a dart that I might throw, Matt Grzelcyk against his old team, plus
How about Nick
1,200.
Foligno, the captain of the Blackhawks? He played for the Bruins briefly.
Yeah.
So and he scored in the last game. Didn't he get their only goal? He did. Foligno.
He did
Against Calgary the other night.
Yeah. His first two goals of the year have come after off of this injury. So yeah.
Yeah, former player angles there. Matt Grzelcyk's definitely more of a shot in the dark. That guy does not score very often.
No, he doesn't. But I can see that happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's a couple. Foligno and Grzelcyk if you buy into the former player angle. But the ones I like the most are, well, even Kastelik, even though he scored in back-to-back, I don't love that because he's not a guy that you really want to bank on scoring 3 straight games, but you never know. We didn't expect him to score in 2 straight games either, and he did. But Murat Husnudinov's my favorite one, no doubt. Like he's been very good up on that top line for the for the Boston Bruins, rather. And then I think for Chicago, I guess the only concern too for Boston is this a letdown emotionally after the Chara night, against Seattle, the big ceremony. But I don't know. They're playing pretty good hockey again, the Bruins here in recent games. Oh yeah, Ryan Green. We're going to stick with it. We're going to stick with it as long as he stays with Connor Bedard. And he's getting the chances. It's just, will the puck go in? All right, Nashville and Vegas. Next up here, we've got Vegas minus 210 home favorites, 6 the total in this game. This will be interesting to see who's in net for Nashville. Could be one of our favorites here, although he's been better lately. We can't really throw as much shade at him lately. Justus Annunen, who might get the start here for Nashville. He's been better lately. Yeah, there's a couple of his recent starts have been quite good. So we'll see if he's able to carry that over here to this game tonight with the Predators and the Golden Knights. We saw, obviously, Vegas roar back to beat Toronto. That was a terrific hockey game. It was a great game to actually have on ESPN. It was that good of a game. But Vegas comes back to beat Toronto 6-5 in overtime. We'll see how this one plays out. The draw could be of some interest for me. Back-to-back overtime games for Vegas. Nashville, it's a back-to-back for Nashville, but can they be competitive a little bit here in this game? We'll see. I am worried about after 7. This has been a nice run for Nashville. They beat Washington, they beat Edmonton, and then they thumped Colorado last night 7-3 and handed them their first regulation loss on home ice. So, but if it wasn't back-to-back, I may be tempted to take Nashville at a price like this, but back-to-back, no. And I still got to see more. If it's Justus Annunen in net, with all due respect to the last couple better starts he's had, and they have been better starts. Like, we got to give him his props after ripping him all year, because he's only given up 2 goals or less now in 3 straight starts. 2 against Washington, 2 against Vegas, beat Vegas earlier this year and only gave up 2 goals in Vegas, and then the 1 goal against the Rangers. So he's definitely been in good form lately. We'll see how this one plays out, but I don't know if I can. It's just a tough spot. It was a big win against Colorado, back-to-back. Vegas is on a nice win streak and the rest advantage, so I probably won't get involved with Nashville. Maybe, you know what I'll do? Stick to old reliable. First period over. Just keeps on cashing in Vegas home games. Alex, what do you think here? Nashville, Vegas.
That's what I grabbed this morning. I got minus $1.25. It's now minus 30, the best price available over at Caesars. But that first period over, like I said, that's just been a kind of rinse and repeat move with Vegas at home. And with Nashville getting that momentum, like I said, looking really good in the first period, helped us cash the gift. Ryan O'Reilly 30 seconds into the contest. Maybe I'll take a look at that too. First period goal in the first 5 minutes again. But definitely liking that first period over.
Yeah, no doubt. It's worth. I mean, Vegas is right there on Chris Otto's chart right now as one of the leaders in first period over streaks right now, and all season, especially at home. They just continue to cash first. How easy was first period over with Toronto and Vegas the other night? That was just blink and you
light
missed it.
work.
Yeah. Blink and you missed that game going over in the first period. So yeah, that'll be the main bet here. First period over, Predators and Golden Knights. I think there's a small shot that it could, maybe slow down just a little bit after that. But like I said, I definitely think we'll get the goals early. No question about that. As far as props for this Nashville and Vegas game, anyone betting Ryan O'Reilly to get a hat trick again? No, probably not. That's probably not going to happen. But it was pretty amazing to see it happen last night. Mark Stone's been on a roll. We know that. Stamkos for 3 straight games with a goal. Dorofeyev is streaky, and he finally got going against Toronto with the hat trick. So maybe you ride the wave with him because he can be a streak goal scorer for this Vegas Golden Knights team. But yeah, those are some of the props maybe to consider there. All right, 2 games left. We've got Edmonton, Vancouver, the late game on the Hockey Day in Canada triple header. We've got Edmonton minus 180, road favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. So not only are the Canucks fucking terrible right now, I think we can all agree on that. They're absolutely brutal. This spot is brutal. This is an absolutely brutal scheduling spot for the Vancouver Canucks. They're coming back home off a very long, very exhausting, very lengthy road trip. A lot of air miles eaten up and covering that road trip for Vancouver. A 6-gamer that started January 16th or January 6th in Buffalo, then to Detroit, then to Toronto, then to Montreal, then to Ottawa, then to Columbus. 0-6 on that road trip. Now you're back home, and to make matters worse for them, it's only a 48-hour turnaround from the end of that road trip for the Vancouver Canucks. It's brutal, for them having to be on that road trip that long and only get the 1 day in between to try to, catch your breath, if you will. Not only that, but you got Edmonton rolling in here off back-to-back losses. 4-3 loss to Nashville in overtime, and then shut out by the heroics of Ilya Sorokin, losing 1-0 to the New York Islanders in their last game off a shutout loss. This to me is we're going to potpourri the board here with Edmonton as far as a variety of bets pro Oilers here. I'm on Edmonton team total over 1 first period plus money. We've done that before. I think they get at least 1 goal in the first period. I'm on the full game team total over 3.5 here for Edmonton in this game, which is actually still a reasonable price here, minus 125. With the Oilers team total over 3.5. Edmonton first period puck line as well. Not the full game money line because, again, it's minus 180. The team total over is the substitute. 3.5 is the substitute for a money line bet or a puck line bet on Edmonton. So that's the way I chose to approach it here. Edmonton first period puck line. Edmonton team total over 1 at a plus price. Edmonton full game team total over 3.5. Edmonton first goal first period. I'm looking at that here as well. And over in the first period, 1.5 as well, which I will probably wait on a little bit because right now it is a little bit pricey with this total being in that 6.5 range. Yeah, minus 150 right now is what I'm seeing at some spots with first period over. So I will wait a little bit to bet that in game during the first period. So, but everything else is pregame. Puck line, first period Oilers, team total over first period Oilers, full game team total over 3.5, minus 125 for the Oilers as well. There you go. I think it's just a really tough spot. And you got Edmonton not overlooking this bad Vancouver team either, you would think, coming off a couple of losses, including a shutout loss to the Islanders. Goaltending here, Jari expected for Edmonton, although that's not confirmed yet. He was a bit leaky and rusty against Nashville, first game in a while, but I think he'll be better here tonight, and it is Lankinen expected here for Vancouver. But I think it's a real tough spot for this reeling, free-falling, careening sideways Vancouver Canucks team. Alex, what do you think here, Edmonton, Vancouver?
Yeah, this is a good game to hit that first period correct score stack. Edmonton 1-0 plus 470, Edmonton 2-0 plus 950, Edmonton 2-1 at 11-1. I'm gonna go with those three plays along with that first goal, first period, where you got to lay a little bit of a price minus $1.05.
All right, good stuff. Prop wise for Oilers and Canucks, off the shutout loss, you'd expect definitely expect an offensive bounce back against a team that's given up goals in bunches. By the way, that's another thing about why the road trip was so bad for Vancouver. During that road trip, they gave up 5 goals or more 4 times in those 6 games. So defensively and goaltending, it's not where it needs to be for the Vancouver Canucks right now. That's why Edmonton probably has a great chance to get back on track here, at least offensively, here in this game. And then as far as props, like I mentioned, there are a couple here for Edmonton. I'm looking at Kapanen, Podkolzin with Draisaitl on the second line for them here tonight in this game. There's only one player I'd look at for Vancouver, and that's Karlsson, because I think there's really good value. He's been noticeable most nights. He's chipped in Linus Karlsson with Pedersen and DeBrusk. So there you go. And Jari, good numbers for Jari against Vancouver from Robert in the chat. 5-1, 2.65 goals against, 911 save percentage. And I do expect it'll be Jari in net. So he has played well against the Canucks in the past. All right, part 2. After these teams played each other last night, our final game on the board here, LA, Anaheim. One more time, we've got LA minus 115, road favorites. The total here sitting at 6.5 across the board. I think we're going to see Forsberg tonight, Anton Forsberg for LA on the back-to-back here in this game. Probably both backups. We probably end up seeing Ville Husso get the start here for Anaheim. Last night it was lower scoring. I think I like, and I was on Anaheim. I loved Anaheim last night at that price in that spot after snapping the losing streak to get a little momentum going. And Alex used it as his best bet on the show. It was great to cash that in a shootout last night. I don't like Anaheim as much tonight. I like the over more than I like the side here in the game tonight, because I think we could see a few more goals. You've got the inferior goaltenders on both of these teams. Husso's not as good as Dostal. Forsberg's not as good as Kemper. So I think you're going to see both of these teams get up and down the ice a little bit more. So the over 6.5, depending on which book you're looking at. I do like that. Smaller bet tonight on Anaheim, but I am going to still take Anaheim. I am. I mean, I'm relentless right now fading this LA Kings team. I mean, it's just they spit the bit. They keep finding ways to lose. And you got to believe that, and they sensed it after Anaheim roared back from 2-0 down, Alex, to tie that game. You could sense it on the Kings bench. Oh, boy, here we go again. In what new way are we going to find to lose this game tonight? That's the way you start thinking when you're in this kind of rut, if you're the LA Kings. So I am going to be back on Anaheim again, quack, quack, minus 105. But in this game, unlike last night, I like the total a little bit more than I like the side for the over here. Alex, what do you think? Final game, LA, Anaheim.
Yeah, this is one where I'm going to wait again and grab a better adjusted total in game, try and get a 6 rather than a 6.5. But liking goals here, like I said, as we were expecting backups, and really kicking myself yesterday for not grabbing that draw with Kings and Ducks. Don't want to take that tonight. I feel like this could be a more of an up and down game, and we may see a winner within regulation. So just wait for an over 6.
All right, great stuff. There we go. As far as this card's concerned. By the way, we'll keep an eye on the injuries. By the way, the Leo Carlsson update is he's going to be out for 4 to 5 weeks. So very unfortunate for Leo with the surgery that he's done. He was having a great season, so he will be missed. There's no doubt. Kreider's still day-to-day. It looks like Troy Terry was just put on IR. Frank Petrano's been out for a while already. So like I said, definitely some concerns as far as these two teams and their health going into this matchup here and moving forward for the Anaheim Ducks as well. But still, showed last night. They were missing these guys last night too. No problem. They were still able to beat the LA Kings. So yeah, Anaheim and over. I'll be on that for this game. As far as any props for this one, For LA, I think there was someone I was looking. It was Fogle, I think, and Armia. Armia did get their 1 goal last night. That line's actually been good with Byfield. For Anaheim here, Seneca. Yeah, Seneca. We'll take a shot with him again, I think, for a goal prop as well. All right, there you have it. Great card. Looking forward to it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. It's a huge Saturday slate. So excited. By the way, it's 2-1 Rangers in the first 8 minutes of this game.
Yeah,
Goaltending
crazy.
optional. God almighty. Just hammered that over. Christ's sake, man.
And Flyers scored first.
I know.
So.
Spencer Martin versus freaking Kolosov. Don't put it off. Fade Kolosov. What did you think was going to happen? Holy mac. But again, I got the heebie-jeebies with the early start. So it's like peanuts bet. And it should have been something bigger, but oh well. Can't go back and change the past. All right, good stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Check out wizardsportspicks.com. Huge weekend, right? NHL, NBA, college basketball still ongoing. NFL divisional playoff weekend. I'm number 1 at that website by a decent margin, too, in the NFL. It's been an incredible season. We've got 3 winners lined up for wizardsportspicks.com for Saturday divisional playoff action. We're going to have 1 or 2 for Sunday as well, so make sure you check it out. Wizardsportspicks.com, NHL, NBA, college basketball, all the premium picks are up there. But get on board for a longer-term subscription as well, 7-day, 30-day, and 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, and 1 year. All sports, all access passes available. So check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. And check out patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. So make sure you check it out. Again, lots of bonus content. We've got 2 Patreon exclusive live betcasts coming your way before the end of the month of January. So make sure you get on board before that takes. 3-1 Rangers. Unbelievable. This Kolosov, man. Send him back to Russia, for Christ's sake. Goodness gracious. But yeah, 3. God. It's a goal every minute. Every time I look up, goal here in this Ranger game. But patreon.com/Ice Guys. We got 2 live betcasts, Patreon exclusive before the end of the month. So make sure you check that out. And of course, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. Again, just $10 per month. Check it out, patreon.com/Ice Guys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You have 2 days left to save 20% off everything in the store. Just hit the redeem button at the homepage, add your items to your cart, and 20% will be taken off at checkout. We've got hoodies, we've got caps, we've got mugs, we've got t-shirts, we've got all kind of wonderful items, and you can save 20% the next 2 days at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, good stuff indeed. iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Check out the store. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Please for yourself with my love is no Royal Cannabis, where the kings and queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis. Check them out, royalcannabisshop.com, 20% off with promo code Ice Guys. We've already got a goalie pull in that Ranger Flyer game. Kolosov out, Erison already in after that third Ranger goal.
Wow.
That did not take long. And I don't know if that's a much better option right now, but I think anything could be better than Kolosov. That's a terrible start for him. My gosh.
Yeah.
But crazy stuff going on in Philadelphia right now. Crazy stuff going on in the Bargain Bin Special of the Night segment all season long. Crazy good. Like winners, it seems most nights we're getting at least one bargain bin between any of us that appear on the show, whether it's me, whether it's Alex, whether it's one of our guests, Perlo, Matt Robinson, you name it. It seems like we're getting one bargain bin special on the board more nights than not. We had one last night with Alex and Colin Graff for the San Jose Sharks. Alex, what do you like for your Saturday bargain bin special of the night?
I got two that I like. First one, we'll go to that game, Columbus taking on Pittsburgh. And like I said, Columbus has some energy and some mojo going right now. We like them in that game. But one guy I like to get on the board is Boone Jenner. You get him anytime goal scorer plus 340 at BetMGM for the Columbus Blue Jackets. That'll be my first bargain bin special of the night. The second bargain bin special, we'll head over to the west side of Chicago. We got an original six matchup with Boston and Chicago. The Hawks. He said this may be a tricky spot. It's the whole banner years night. Going to have a little bit of a ceremony. May get off to a slow start. But one guy, like I said, has been getting tons of chances left and right. I think tonight's the night for him. That's Ryan Green. You can get him anytime goal scorer plus 400. Best price available over at DraftKings. That'll be my second bargain bin special. So Boone Jenner plus 340. Ryan Green plus 400. Those are my two bargain bin specials for the Saturday.
All right, good stuff. I am doing maybe a first. Two bargain bin specials, same game, same team. Columbus Blue Jackets for mine. Two bargain bin specials from the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're going back to Charlie Coyle again. Have to. Plus 425 on this consecutive game goal scoring streak. He's one, and the other is Kent Johnson. Upgrade in minutes since Rick Bowness arrived. Big ice time increase. Scored a goal in his second game, and he could have easily scored a goal in that first game against Calgary as well. But he's been all over the ice. He's been noticeable. He's been getting involved offensively. He scored a goal against Vancouver in the last game under Bowness. Clearly, his confidence is coming back. He's getting chances. Kent Johnson, plus 400 for my second bargain bin special of the night. So good prices. Charlie Coyle, Columbus, plus 425, and Kent Johnson for Columbus, plus 400 for my two bargain bin specials of the night. If I could give you a third one, I'm not going to, but honorable mention to Jonathan Taves. Almost used him as a bargain bin special for Winnipeg here tonight with his consecutive game goal scoring streak. But officially, Johnson and Coyle for the Columbus Blue Jackets. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
You get late night action out in Las Vegas. You got the Golden Knights taking on the Nashville Predators, and we like that first period over. 1.5 best price available minus $1.30 over at Caesars. So Golden Knights Preds over 1.5 in the first period. My Saturday best bet.
All right, my best bet. That could go a lot of different ways. There's some of these totals I like. With Toronto Winnipeg, I'd give you over 5.5, but not every. There's a lot of books that don't have 5.5 anymore, so we won't use that. I'm going to go to that Edmonton Vancouver game. Let's use a Hockey Day in Canada game for best bet, and I do like this one quite a bit. This is where the floodgates open for Edmonton. After the shutout loss to the Islanders, they catch Vancouver off a terrible travel scheduling spot off a long road trip. Give me the Edmonton Oilers team total over 3.5 minus 120. Best price available. Oilers team total over 3.5. Best bet for this Saturday. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Another great show in the books. We're going to do, by the way, tomorrow we're on at noon Eastern. We're going to do the early game on Monday on tomorrow's show because there's an early game before we start Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then on Martin Luther King Day, we will be on at the regular time still Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget, not Patreon exclusive live betcast, but free for all live betcast open to everybody Tuesday night, January the 20th, 7 p.m. Eastern, just a few days away. Our first live betcast of 2026 this Tuesday night, open to everybody. We're looking forward to it. We'll go all night through the Tuesday card. Excited about that. So Tuesday night, January 20th, 7 p.m. Eastern, our first Ice Guys live betcast of 2026. Definitely looking forward to that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex P. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday night and a great hockey day in Canada. For those of you north of the border, enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you on Sunday, noon Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.